When the wise men arrived to see the baby, it all came together all at once, that everything they had been looking at and studying and wondering about all came together with the radiance of the Christ child. Aha! This is it. He's the Messiah, the Savior of the world. I think in our lives, there are moments when these epiphanies occur. And sometimes we are there and open and ready to recognize them. And likely there are times when we're not. There are numerous stories about such times, but one I particularly appreciate is the story of a man named Dan West. And likely that name doesn't mean anything to any of you the way it didn't mean anything to me when I first heard the story. Later it becomes more familiar. But Dan West in 1938 was a Christian aid worker with the Brethren Church over in Spain during the Spanish Civil War. His job was to ladle out reconstituted milk in cups that would be given primarily to children. He said it was a terrible job because at the end of the line, actually the line never ended. There was the end of the vat of milk when he would have to offer the milk to the last few children who would get a cup. And he said it felt to him like he was offering up life or death. That it was his hand that was responsible for the children who would drink the milk and the others who wouldn't, because there wasn't any left. And he said he realized these children do not just need a cup of milk. There's more to this. And he thought back to his home state of Indiana. And he thought, oh, if I just had some of those dairy cows. These people don't need a cup of milk. They need a cow. That's what would turn things around. Well, later, he went back home to his home church and began to talk with people about his idea. He decided that even better than just sending a cow, we needed to send a young heifer. A cow that could produce milk as well as produce many other cows who could be given away. Is the story sounding more familiar? Little by little? Well, in 1944, the first shipment of heifers, 17 of them, were sent to Puerto Rico from York, Pennsylvania. Now there are animals sent all over the world to 115 countries. The idea being that when you receive your gift, when a female offspring comes from your cow, it is to be given to another family, so we can continue to give to others. The organization is now called Heifer International, and it really does amazing work around the globe. I believe what happened to Dan West the day, many days, he was standing offering milk to children in Spain, was a kind of epiphany. Likely none of those children had a glow radiating from their heads. There wasn't a light beam. There wasn't a lightning bolt that went off. But at the moment when Dan West, his heart, his mind was open to a possibility, was a moment when God was intervening and offering a glow, offering a solution. That because Dan was open to it, he could hear it, he could see it, he could feel it, and he had the heart and passion to make it happen. You know that Jesus was born a baby. And he could have just simply been raised a baby and a child in the world. God creates us as free people, and we did not have to recognize who Jesus was. Because the wise men, and later many others, would allow their seeking hearts and their seeking minds to recognize Jesus, to recognize the work of God in the world. The belief that he was the Messiah was confirmed, and it led to our greater understanding of who Jesus was. We too must, with seeking hearts and minds, be paying attention to recognize the light of God when it shines, to recognize that intervention into each one of our lives. Imagine the times when it simply could pass us by if we're too busy doing something else. But simply paying attention to the work of God in our ordinary world, I believe, can create epiphanies every day, where God's light shines on a particular situation or a particular time, and something amazing can happen from that shining, from that radiance. We too will see the shining face of God, and that will allow us to shine for the